Hey guys, how's it going? I'm kind of excited to announce a new series I'm going to be doing. And I'm going to do a video on the SKS on average of about once, maybe twice a week for the next year. And I'm going to call this series the Year of the SKS. In one of my last live streams, I kind of polled the audience and gave them a couple choices of a certain gun that I could feature for basically a year straight. And I was kind of wanting to do the SKS, that was kind of the one I was looking to do, but overwhelmingly, you guys wanted to see the SKS too. So, SKS. We're going to talk about it for literally the next year. I'll probably be able to put out a video every week. Every once in a while, it'll probably be every 2 weeks just because I get really busy in the summer. But yeah, in general, I'm going to literally talk about this gun right here, the SKS, for the next year. Now, today's just going to be a brief intro and a little bit of history about the gun. And then I'm going to go through and show you guys many different variants from several different countries, different iterations, including some experimental designs, some rather rare variants, and some rather common variants, and a few different SKSs that were made for the consumer market and such. So we're going to go through quite a few of them, and hopefully you guys like the SKS, because I'm going to do my best to give you guys quite a bit of information on these guns, show you quite a few examples, show you some tips and tricks, etc. So basically, the SKS, officially known in the Soviet Union as the SKS-45, here's a Soviet example right here, was designed around 1943 by Sergei Simonov. And they were initially tested with a group of like prototypes or test guns, if you will. And these guns actually started service in late World War II. Some of the very final battles, Soviet Russia actually brought some of these out into the battlefield and tested them for use. So whereas the mass production didn't start till a few years later, these guns were actually literally put into service in 1945, thus the name SKS 45. So that's a little tidbit. A lot of people don't really realize these did have a little bit, just a teeny bit of World War II actual use and history. Now, as you guys probably already know, the SKS is a semi-automatic carbine. It was developed obviously by the Soviet Union, and it's been in service since 1945 all the way to the present. Now obviously the Soviet Union doesn't currently issue the SKS. However, there's still many countries that are still using the SKS, believe it or not, in current wars and conflicts to date as of 2019. So to say this design is prolific would probably be a little bit of an understatement, right? So in that time, there's been an estimated of 15 million plus SKSs produced. So quite a few of them. They're not necessarily rare or uncommon. And different countries, obviously starting with the Soviet Union, they made them for a while. Then you went to China with their Type 56 rifle, Yugoslavia with their PAP, the Romanian SKS, the Albanian SKS. East Germany made an SKS called the Karabiner S, and you even had variants made in North Vietnam and North Korea. Now look guys, I don't have the variants from all of these countries. A couple of those countries I mentioned, namely East Germany, North Korea, and Vietnam, are like super, super rare, meaning none have actually really been officially imported here. We just have a couple handfuls, due to, vet bringbacks from different conflicts overseas. But we'll go through them, and I do have plenty of subject matter here, guys. I got into the SKS, let's just say this, my first gun I ever bought was an SKS, and that would have been in the early to mid 90s, before the quote Clinton assault weapons ban and all that. So I've been into the SKS for, oh shoot, getting close to 30 years now, probably 28 years to be honest with you. It was the early 90s, my first gun I ever bought. Now, as many of you know, these guns used to be about $100 back then. They've gone up a little bit since then. But I would argue for the utility and functionality of one of these guns and just the high quality of this platform period, I think they're still actually a good gun to get into today. So if you guys don't have your first day SKS yet, no, you're not going to get one for $100 anymore. But I think this gun's still relevant. So that's why I thought it'd be, kind of fun to talk about it. So this is by no means a modern style rifle, sure. But it actually still is used, like I said, by certain countries in modern warfare. And I think it's still a pretty, viable weapon even today. These weigh about 8.5 pounds. Overall length of about 40 inches. With the exception of Yugoslavia, they had their second version called the M5966. That's about 44 inches. So, like with the AK, Yugoslavia always does things a little bit different. So, your normal SKS, Soviet bloc produced, and most of the other countries is going to have a 20-inch barrel. Again, with the exception of the Yugo M5966, that has like a 22-inch barrel. And it fires the 7.62 by 39 M43 round. And you'll recognize this as the same round that the AK platform takes, AK-47, AKM, and such. So 7.62 by 39. This ammo is still plentiful, still really cheap. We're still getting really cheap ammo from Russia. So that's another cool thing about the SKS, obviously. Now the SKS is, like I said, this is a semi-automatic carbine. It was never intended to fire full auto, never issued in full auto. I know there's been different myths and rumors about, you know, converting your SKS to full auto. Obviously, NFA rules would apply, and for the general public, that'd be illegal. But that's besides the point. These guns were never machine guns. So what's kind of cool about the SKS is when we were brought into the country, in the United States anyways, these guns didn't have to be generally modified. Now, there was a time during that 10-year period, 94 to 2004, where they were removing bayonets and cutting off bayonet lugs, but other than that, these guns never had to be converted, like an AK or many others. So basically, the platform we have these guns in here in the country today is the correct platform in the semi-auto. It features a 10-round box magazine that's integral to the gun, and it's normally loaded and fed by stripper clips. And you'll find the charging handle has a slot that will accommodate the actual stripper clip itself, and you can load 10 rounds into the magazine. Now, just to go over that again, this is correctly the magazine, not the clip. But in the case of stripper clips, that is actually the correct nomenclature. It's called a stripper clip. And most of you guys are familiar with that. And I'll go over stripper clips and how to load these guns in another video. These were intended to have, like I said, semi-automatic, a rate of fire of about 35 to 40 rounds a minute. So certainly not a machine gun by any means, but yet quite a bit faster rate of fire than a bolt action, obviously. Which, as you know, Soviets were transitioning over from the Mosin Nagant series rifles into the SKS. This kind of replaced the SVT-40, if you will, and the Mosin Nagant for the frontline service rifle. Now, yes, the Soviets continue to still produce some Mosin Nagants after this gun's inception, but you'll find that's true with a lot of Soviet guns. They didn't really like to get rid of their previous model gun. They like to kind of carry it over and have quite a bit of overlap. And then they generally like to just stockpile stuff too for World War III that never came, or for if the Cold War had turned into an actual fighting war. They wanted to keep their guns. So yes, Mosins were still kept in the Soviet arsenals for many more years, but in general, it'd be fair to say that the SKS replaced the Mosin, right? The sights are graduated out to 1,000 meters. See if I can get a good view of that there for you. There you go, in 100-meter increments. So this features a tangent type rear sight. And yeah, I'm not going to go into like super in depth on all SKS variants today, guys. The point of today's video is basically just to go through and give you a brief introduction to the series I'm going to be doing. And I'm going to go on in other videos and tell you things like how the SKS is not an AK, not even close actually. So we're going to dispel a few of the myths that some people have, clarify the actual operation of this gun. I will say it's a short stroke gas piston gun with a tilting bolt, and it's self-loading. So this is right away you're going to see this is definitely not an AK, but it does kind of have a few things in common with the AK. And as appropriate in some of my videos I do on this series, I'll bring an AK in every once in a while to show you guys kind of how, you know, the school of thought switched over from this gun, because you're going to find the SVT-40 and the Mosin at the beginning of the lineage of the SKS, and then near its end you're going to find it getting replaced by the actual first type AKs, later called the AK-47. So it's not like we can leave AK completely out of the story with the SKS, because they are, you know, this is kind of the father to the AK, if you will. But to say these are simply synonymous guns would be really far from the truth. So we'll get into a little bit of that. This gun actually is mainly inspired, by the way, by the AVS-36, which was a previous gun that was designed by Simonoff. Now, to say it's an exact, duplicate of it, no. Some people have gone and kind of exaggerated over the years and made it sound like this is an actual just shortened down version without the select fire. That's not actually true either. But we can say that it did get some of its lineage and some of its inspirations from, Simonoff's earlier AVS-36, which was a machine gun that, was used in Soviet Russia before that. So yeah, guys, 15 million of these were produced. These are widely available in the United States, still available today. The price has gone up some, but I think for what this gun is, I think it's still not only a fun gun to shoot at the range today, but these still make great deer hunting rifles. And I think one could argue still somewhat effective in a combat situation. So I was trying to think of how to start this series, and I'm going to officially start it on the first variant in the next section, in the next video, and I'm going to start from the beginning. So as I said previously, the SKS was developed in around, 1943, 44-ish. There were a few prototypes that were being actually tested in a couple active battlefields in World War II. But the main production started in 1949, and that's at the Tula factory in Soviet Union, Soviet Russia. And this one right here is the one I'm going to start with. So we're going to start in 1949, and this is a 1949 dated example. And we will go through here and talk about this variant first. I'll start going through Russia, the different variations and iterations that Russia made, some of the changes they made to this gun, and then get into where it starts transitioning into other countries. So it's hard to say every single thing about this gun just in, a few minutes here. But today's just a brief overview, kind of announcing this series. Hopefully it's something you guys will look forward to. I know there's information about the SKS out there, quite a bit, but I'm just going to kind of do it how I normally do my videos and talk to you guys, give you guys a little history. I'll be taking the guns down, showing you how some of the internals work, showing you some of the accessories, and we'll just see how much you guys like it. If you guys look like you're having a good time with this, I'll just keep putting out more and more videos. And like I said, it's going to be a series. I'm going to call it the Year of the SKS. And if we have fun doing this for a year, maybe I'll go to Mosins after that, or AKs or something like that. But with the SKS, me having quite a few different variants that are going to show you guys quite a bit of cool stuff, I thought we could kind of get through a year and not really bore you too much, because there's a lot of subject matter here. And I think quite a few of you either have an SKS or know somebody that does, or have a general interest in it. So let me know in the comments on this video if this is something you guys are going to be looking forward to doing. Like I said, I'm going to try to have fun with it, be as informative as I can without putting you guys to sleep, and just kind of just show you a bunch of different variants. I'm going to start my next video with this 1949 Tula Soviet Russian produced SKS, and we'll eventually go on and start covering guns like this as the year goes on. This is a sporter with a paratrooper length barrel, made in China, and it's kind of a custom gun made for the US import market. So you can see there's a lot of vast differences, guys. Hopefully I can go through, and yeah, hopefully we can have fun with this. So let me know what you guys think. And my whole channel is not going to be dedicated to the SKS, but what I am going to do is make this a regular series, and probably one day a week on average I'm going to put out an SKS video, and we'll just go through the different variants. And as I always do, I'll be reading the comments. So if you guys have any questions or suggestions, obviously I don't own every SKS there is, so if you start right off the bat saying I want to see a German Carabiner S in the next video, I'm sorry, we're probably not going to be able to show you that one. But I think I have enough variants and different versions and little iterations to keep you guys entertained for a year. And trust me, there's a lot of idiosyncrasies, little variations, especially when we get to just China alone. That'll keep us busy for a while. So I'm going to go through here, and like I said, don't ask right away for a North Korean or a German, and we'll be good. But other than that, if you guys have suggestions or little questions, I'll try to answer them as we go along here. And if you guys have questions for a version that hasn't come up yet, I'll try to answer that question in the next video. I think that's kind of cool, doing a full year series. It can give us time for me to interact with you guys and, see if you guys are into these guns, and I don't know, hopefully we'll have fun with it. So, alright guys, let's look forward to the Year of the SKS. All right, thanks for watching, and have a good one.